today's discussion.
Hello.
Hey, Cass.
Hello.
Hey,
Hi.
Constance. There's Jen and there's Arosha. We
Hello,
have a good
everybody.
discussion today. We're going to talk about the film Straw. And if you all have not seen that movie, it is a great movie written by Tyler Perry that examines the life of a young woman who experiences so many of the various stages of grief. Um, I'm sure you all have heard of it, but if you haven't, we want you guys to watch it so you can really tune into what's going on. When it first came out, social media was all of us talking about this movie. There were all types of different reviews, but I think it all boiled down to the same thing. Grief is heavy, but hope prevails. Right? Right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
when we saw the movie, though, the Sisterhood, y'all know we look at things through a different lens. We saw a story of denial, anger, bargaining, depression, and acceptance. If you have been following us and watching our last couple of episodes, we broke down the stages of grief. So I think we were already in that mindset. And so
Yeah.
we saw the movie through that lens, right?
Yes.
So today we want to kind of talk about it.
Yeah.
Y'all
Mm.
ready?
Yep.
Yeah, let's get into it.
Let's get
Yeah.
into it.
Okay, as we're going to show some clips here and there. Thanks, Tyler, for allowing us to do this. And so, if you all are not familiar, you'll see different clips. So, the first one we're going to start with is the scene, the rain scene. Okay, so if you've watched the movie, you realize that she has had a loss. Oh, I need to say this from the beginning. Spoiler alert. If you have not seen it, we're going to tell it. So, you may want to pause and watch it or just follow us because we are going to tell you what happens. But in the movie, the young woman played by Taraji Henson has lost her daughter the night before. In the movie, she's experiencing different feelings of denial. And so there's a scene where she breaks down in the middle of the rain. And I'm just gonna let you guys watch it and then we'll have Jen weigh in on it.
Okay.
Well, where the hell you been? I've been called. Well, where the hell you?
Okay.
Monday.com, the opposite of
I don't know what's happening with us not getting a picture, so we'll come back to it. But if nothing else, I know you heard those voices, right? You heard that was a scene where her manager was going in on her for being late for work, and then we heard her screaming in the rain. That scene touched me deeply. So Jen, you weigh in, tell us how you felt about it.
Yes, yes, yes. So, she was already distressed with her manager. And coming back to her house and seeing that all of her items were out on the lawn, the landlord had put her out, evicted her, and she looked up in the sky and just, it was raining on her. And the first thing that I thought was she was like saying to God, what else is going to happen? Or where are you? Because, she was just, it was like her last thing, and she immediately started looking for her daughter's medicine, her daughter's school project, her daughter's school bag. And so, yes, she was just totally, just depressed and outraged about it. Was almost like this was the last straw. She was like, where are you, God? Looking up in the sky, like, what else? So I do think that was a touching scene for me as well. It just symbolized that she was just lost. Yes, yes. What did you think?
You hit it. And, when we were talking about that scene, she had I think if I'm correct, they had just put her out of her house, right? So all of
Yeah.
her stuff was on the lawn. So
Yeah.
it wasn't just the loss. The movie started with the loss of her daughter. We didn't know that, but she lost her child. Now she's lost their home. So this movie explores the various different types of loss. It's not just her child, it's her home, it's her livelihood. Because as we keep watching or talking about it, we're going to hear more about the issues that she experienced at the workplace, right? And dealing with people in the community. So it was raw. That's what I can say about that scene, Jen. It was just a raw, emotional scene. Anybody else want to weigh in before we move on?
Yeah, I think too, like, Chan was saying about just the realization of loss and just how traumatic that can be. Um, and feeling of loss and grief is a feeling of loss. And my therapist, she says, grief is the response to a loss.
Mm-hmm.
And so to losses. And so like was shared, there's many types of losses, but grief is that response to it. And so we see that, clearly just that, even that loss, when she was screaming out, it was just, just like, you can feel that gut wrenching, that when you're in the throes of grief or when you're in the throes of just, those types of situations, that it just evokes such emotion, or can evoke such emotion from us. So
Yeah. And if I could just say one more thing. After that scene, I think that's what screwed up some anger, so much anger in her that she then went back to her job to try to, to get her check or something. Anyway, yeah.
And another part about that scene, and I know we're going to move on, but you guys, I think about when you watch it, others are watching her. There's
Oh,
a
yeah.
piece of that scene that just is so much vulnerability. It's almost like a cry of despair as well, Constance, because people are watching and nobody's doing anything. Like, why
Right,
are they not helping? And I know that's just another example too of when people are grieving, it feels like a very alone time. That you're by yourself. People, all the spectators are watching, but you're
Yeah.
going through the emotions and the feelings all along.
By yourself.
Yeah, yeah.
No compassion.
No
No help.
compassion. Right, right.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, Cass, it's on you. What stuck out to you in the movie?
Well, the scene that stuck out for me was the moment, or I should say moments, with the police officer, both police officers actually. But we talked about the scene earlier where she, had that emotional outbreak, and then so on her way to the next place, trying to go back to her job, she was very distracted. She's driving. She cuts off the police officer, not meaning to. She's just distracted because her mind is going a mile a minute. And so when he finally gets to, you'll get to see that scene.
Oh, okay. Let's see.
First. Yes. Okay, so the scene just kind of goes on to reveal what what happens with this police officer who he hits her car, but he says that she hit him. So it's kind of that who are they going to believe? So she's starting to feel angry. She's starting to feel fearful, which is an outcome of anger. When you start feeling angry, you start being fearful and being afraid of what the unknown might hold because of his words that he shared with her. And so she's thinking, well, who is here to protect me? Who's going to defend me? And so that's another thing that we were talking about, that she doesn't have a support system. Like, who's going to be there to help her out of this situation? And then when the other police officer comes up, she's not really helping her. She says, well, I'm going to be easy on you. But then she ends up impounding her car. And so that car is her way to get through life, to get her daughter from point A to point B. So there she's also feeling just alone. Like, what am I going to do now?
Yes. No help.
None of that whatsoever.
Yeah.
and cast more alone, right? Because she'd already just experienced
Yes.
people looking at her, watching her go through this all by
Mhm.
herself. Her
Mhm.
stuff is on the lawn, it's getting soaked and wet, and
Mhm.
nobody's helping. And now here I am, another situation, and
Yes.
there's nobody here for me. And like I said, what I really love about this movie is the symbolization. We know that a lot of times when people are grieving, a lot of people are around, but people still feel alone. And I think he did a great job of showing how people are all around coming, in her space, but she still feels like this is her battle by
Mhm.
herself.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Mhm.
definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and it definitely, yeah, it speaks to that, just like you said, that isolating feeling too. Even as you're sometimes going through the life's journey and then just feeling isolated. And so, as the movie kind of goes back at the end and kind of shows just the unraveling of things,
Mhm.
just letting us see how we can go through life and just people just feeling isolated and how things can compound upon you,
Right.
one thing after the other.
That's
Mhm.
right.
And so we definitely, and we'll talk more about it when we get into this, but just the coping, what we need to cope as we go through
Mhm.
challenges. Because grief is going to come knocking at everybody's door. Loss is
That's
Yes.
right.
a part of life, it's inevitable.
Mhm.
We're going to all experience many forms of loss in
Mhm.
life. And
Right.
so knowing how to cope with it as best as possible,
Mhm.
because we know that, there's going to be some out, things that they're just going to happen.
Yeah.
But being
And
able to cope with it to the best of our
that we
abilities,
can.
in the best scenarios as possible, it's helpful.
Absolutely. And I love the way that you said too, when you were like, Constance, things can sometimes it just happens. We can have the best toolkit and
Yeah.
still not have what we need at that
Everything.
moment.
Yeah,
Right,
everything
right,
that you need. Yeah, there's going to be some missing pieces,
right, right. So
some
I
things
wrote,
you didn't account for. So yeah.
no, you're absolutely
Yeah.
right. So
Yeah.
I wrote, so we're on you. Talk to us about your scene.
For me, it's the bank manager. The moment that she realized what was happening, she actually was listening to understand. And I hope we can watch this act of love clip.
See.
Let's see if we have it.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes, that was a good
Yeah,
scene.
I just really like that part because she
Mhm.
takes time and she actually
Yeah.
listening to her.
Mhm.
Right. And
Yes.
how many times somebody actually takes the time to listen?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's see if we
All
can
right,
pull that
pull
one.
it up. I think I have it, ladies.
It's okay.
All right.
Let's see.
Yeah.
Others come in
Okay.
here.
Yes.
I swear if I didn't have my husband, I don't know what I would do. You figure it out. Well, we need to figure this out. So mother's coming.
Hopefully you guys can see it.
The girls are showing the understanding and the compassion.
Mhm.
And grief isn't just about the loss. It's about understanding that it was disrupted. Life was disrupted. And when she starts to truly listen, then it reflects how necessary it was for everyone around grieving individuals to acknowledge her pain.
Mhm.
You're
Yeah.
absolutely right. And I'm glad that scene just came up because what we've been talking about is how everybody was not there. The police officers, the ones who are supposed to be in place, the her supervisor, then her neighbors, and all of a sudden here comes somebody to save the day. And really, when you look at this situation, this is probably the least expected person to be
Right.
there and to assist her. If you watch the movie in the beginning, it was just like, hey, we can't help you right now,
Yeah.
Right.
And then when she came in, it's like, hey, we'll be there. But it was that last line she said. Does anybody remember what it was? Because it really touched me just now watching it.
What we're gonna do about this, or
What are we gonna do about
how are we gonna fix
How are
it?
we gonna fix this?
how
Yeah.
are we
Fix
gonna
this.
fix?
Except we.
What did she say,
We.
y'all?
That's right.
We.
We.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
Work it together.
all
Yes.
of a sudden, I'm not alone anymore. All of a sudden, she's not alone anymore. What are we going to do to fix this? And not only that, I feel like throughout the movie, there was no other time that the main character ever thought she could fix anything. Life had been disrupted. And now somebody says, no, we can fix this moment. Maybe not tomorrow. We can't fix yesterday. But right now, in this moment, we can work together to come to a place of moving forward, right?
Yeah.
So these moments just truly showcase how important it is to be able to cope with loss, and then how we all are interconnected through grief, right?
Mhm.
So I want to talk about, this was really interesting to me. She finally was seen, right? She finally was seen in her grief.
Mhm.
Constance, can you just kind of weigh on why it's so important for us to be seen during the grieving process?
Yeah, so when you look at loss and the significance of loss to someone's life
Mm-hmm.
and all the things that come with that, and to gloss over it is kind of like, it takes away from that. And so I think we all, that have experienced great losses or deep losses, can understand that is, for me, I could just speak from my experience, losing a spouse, was huge. And we shared 15 years. There was 15 years, of life shared. And then in a moment that's taken.
Mm-hmm.
And so I didn't want anybody to forget, and I didn't want to forget. And so I think it's just, when you're experiencing loss, it's just to understanding what you lost, being able to sit in that loss, but also not for to just society to gloss it over, or anybody else, people to just to gloss over, that loss, and the impact it was to your life. So I think we just have to be mindful as people about it. I think we live in a society, especially the Western culture, where loss is just, oh, okay, suck it up, get over it, it's a new day,
Right.
just all these little things that we put on loss and grief and just try to put it in a little neat little box. Well, no, the stories need to be told. People's memories need to be acknowledged. Because that helps the healing process.
Right.
So
Yeah.
you have to look at it.
Yeah.
I like that when someone acknowledges your pain, not that you need the validation, but it validates the experience, because a lot of times you're just sitting there in disbelief of what has just occurred. So holding the space for someone, allowing them to talk about it is really important. And I go back to when you said just our society in general, our society is desensitized to a whole bunch that's going on, just the world we live in. Unfortunately, we can see things on TV, we see stuff and we didn't necessarily sign up for it. But when people begin to see that kind of stuff, they stop. They can sometimes lose that it happened directly to a person, that somebody is affected by it.
Right.
If that makes sense. So that's why I think it's so important that we do hold space. And it doesn't have to be a therapist. It can just be anybody. Hold
The
space
bank
for someone.
manager. Yeah, the bank manager.
The bank manager. Once again, right. The bank manager.
Yeah.
And what did she say, Constance? Well, let's see how we can fix it. Can fix it now.
And all we need is that one person. Oftentimes, sometimes you just need the one person.
Yeah.
To acknowledge, and understand. I know, oftentimes in these our communities, you can find people in your community, or you can find your people. Sometimes we have to actively or intentionally find our people that can hold that space for us. Because we can't expect the world to do it. We can't expect everybody.
Right.
That's unrealistic, but we can find our people who can hold space.
Yeah.
But you know what else, what you said, that's good. We also have to sometimes intentionally look forward and venture out. Like, she was not looking for anybody help. She was just trying to figure out her life, but somebody stepped up. Right. But sometimes in life, it's very important that we venture out and look at the different resources and things available that can help you get through, a difficult time. So Jen, it's your turn. Talk to us. about how you saw anger in the movie. We know that we saw anger, we saw bargaining, we saw denial, we saw acceptance. So just tell us which one that you kind of want to talk about.
Well, like I said, initially, I think her first step of anger, was after that rain scene. But, other times in the movie when she was angry was, when the manager wouldn't allow her or wouldn't really take time to understand that, she needed her check. She needed her paycheck, to be able to, and she's thinking that she still needed to go to the school to pay, the lunch the money or whatever. And then I think after just being so angry about, her things being on the lawn or whatever, going back to the manager again to just say, I really need this check. So I think most of her anger was with her manager and just with life. I mean, everything, just with life, it was just hard. And, and it wasn't like she was doing anything wrong, where a person can say, well, you did this and this, now you have to live with it. But it was just, she had a sick daughter and she tried to work several jobs, and so we see that come up when a person is just trying their best to be the best mom, to do the right thing on the job or whatever. And things just keep, like you mentioned earlier, compounding on her. And I don't know if it really was that maybe the school was going to actually take her daughter, because I'm not sure if that was just her thinking about that or dreaming about that. But all of those things, she was really a single mom, really trying to do the best for her daughter. And I think without having the support and people understanding and people even seeing her for who she really was, I mean, how many times did she try to tell people she wasn't trying to rob the bank? She just wanted the money. She just wanted her paycheck. She didn't want any of this extra money.
No.
She's trying to make people see who she really is, who she was. And everyone was just, pushing her aside, not giving her that respect. And so I think all of those things, I know I shared a lot, but I think
No,
all of
that's
those
good.
things actually, caused that anger, to build up, but I think especially her, the store manager, just, from the very beginning.
Yes.
And Jen, I have to say too, you said she just wanted the money. You know what? She just wanted her money.
That's
She
right.
wanted the money that she worked for.
Right.
She didn't want anything
Anybody
extra. She didn't
else's.
want handouts. She wanted hers.
That's
And
right.
the other piece when you talk about, I love the word compound. You're right. It was compounded. All of this, her loss by other systemic problems. Let's be honest, you guys. We were
That's
in,
true.
I don't know if it was some type of public housing, but she had housing issues. She had, the job issues. A person who's sick, it's no telling what was going on with her, different type of insurances and things of that sort. So all of these issues or world issues or nation issues or whatever, this is what was affecting her. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden she's fighting against all of that. And then she loses the one person who means the world to her. All of these other issues are no longer even important because my housing, yes, that's sad, but I shared a house with my child. My job, that whatever, but I needed the money to take care of my child. The school is also a system that sometimes causes problems for people. And all of a sudden, I'm just trying to do the best to take care of my child. But whether it happened or whether she imagined it, she thought that entity was also against her.
That's true.
The
Yeah.
police officers, ideally that's our safe people. In this movie,
Right.
wait a minute, she couldn't trust them. So
No.
there are things again and again that totally compounded the situation that made her to the point where it's almost like she lost control. She lost control of everything. And in some cases, I even said it almost seemed like she lost her mind for a bit.
Yeah,
Until,
she
go
really
ahead,
did.
Constance.
Yeah, I think it broke, something broke in her. And so, those compounded things, can just, it can,
It can, yeah.
Break you.
break us.
Break you.
And I love that you said, yeah, she did. And one of the things I tell people all the time is that the beauty of anything and everything is that nothing stays the same forever. And we were able to see how that played out in the movie. Just like it looked like it was the straw that broke the camel's back. But then she had a hand to hold to kind of help her walk out and get on, like I said, to the other side. And maybe not tomorrow, just in that moment.
Yes.
That moment when she needed it most.
Yes. Yeah.
Another thing that we noticed a whole lot, it seemed to be that there was a lot of compassion lacking in the beginning. So I think, shoot it back to you, Constance. What are your thoughts about that?
Yeah, I think sometimes we can look at somebody's behaviors and and overlook and not have compassion, or be sensitive to that they're a human being. And so we see that with the landlord, we see that with the store manager, we see that with the police officers, just like you just mentioned. And so, but yeah, compassion is huge and it's so needed, in our society today. But we have to sometimes look past people's behaviors, because those behaviors sometimes can, um, you know, it just may be a cry for help. It could, in her case, it definitely was. But yeah, and so just um, recognizing that we play a part, society plays a part, to be able to impact someone's life, or make a difference in someone's life. But if we're just bystanders and just looking and not really trying to help our fellow man,
Yeah.
we see these situations countless times. How many times in our society today, in the school shootings, when people say, oh, I remember that person, that young man, he was struggling in school and people, he was being bullied, and not to justify any of those actions, because those are not acceptable. But maybe just reaching out to people when you see them in turmoil or having a bad day or a bad time, showing compassion can help ease or maybe deflect um, some things that they may do or encounter. So,
I'd like to share something that, you made me think of something, Constance. Compassion. I think if it wasn't for the police officer, the female police officer that saw herself in the lady,
Janaya.
yeah, Janaya. This story could have been so much different, because those police officers could have gone in there and shot her up and, but it was that compassionate police officer that saw herself and saw that Janaya was really in need. And she probably even recognized that she may have been, just like we said, broken. And so I think she was one who really had some compassion. I just wanted to mention that.
yeah, she definitely did. And I think she was able to relate it to her own story. Like she said, I remember her mom had struggled as a single mom and, and had days like that, and so, and then toward the end, we see community rallying around when they start hearing her story. I think when one of the bank tellers were able to capture her sharing some things about her life, and people begin to rally around her story and have that compassion and trying to prevent, them from, you know, um, killing her or what have you. But yeah.
Yeah.
And the stories that they were heard were positive, that she's a wonderful mother. She would never do something like this. She's a good person. So the community, they're all listening and they're on the bus, the train, wherever they were, and they're listening. And they were all on her side. And there were a lot of mothers out there who could relate to that story as well. You don't have to be a single parent to be able to relate to her story.
No.
You just have that sense of empathy and compassion inside you, and that's what we hope to bring out in the world, as Constance was saying.
Yeah.
I love that, Cash. You don't necessarily have to know the story to know that there is a story. That's
Yeah.
what compassion is about. And then I think Constance left us with this. She didn't necessarily say it, but this is what I heard. Be more than a bystander. Don't just stand around and look. Figure out how you can help and assist. And I think the community part was big because we were waiting on it the whole movie. Like, where are these people? But a lot of times we judge. We're human. A lot of times we don't ask the right questions, but we're learning through this process, through navigating grief with a sisterhood, how to look at things differently, right? To look at it through a different lens and recognize that at some point we will all go this way. Just as Constance said, at some point. And so if you are a person that has a problem trying to find empathy, just remind yourself at some point it will be you.
Right.
At some point it will be. So Irosha, I think I had a question for you. What is your major takeaway from the movie, or what would you like to share as kind of some final words?
I think it speaks a lot about resilience, supporting individuals to overcome challenges. And while grief can feel overwhelming, there's always the possibility of healing with the proper tools. It's a journey, and through it, you may feel through hope, may feel distance, but it's essential to keep moving towards healing.
Mhm.
That I wrote through her Iyanla moment. Come on, go on and tell us I wrote. I love it. That was such a beautiful reflection of kind of capturing what we were trying to share in this movie. And like I said, we watched it through a different lens, of course. There are a lot of different takeaways from it. But I think at the end of the day, we saw the stages of grief, but we also saw things that could have, if one thing would have gone differently, how her day could have gone differently. I think we talked about that before. I think Cash, you said if her manager, or maybe Eugene, I don't know, if her manager would have been supportive, we may not have been here. If her landlord would have been supportive, if the school would have noticed that something was going on, if she would have been able to cash her check. There are so many things that could have changed the trajectory of her day.
Mhm.
But the silver lining is that, once again, that manager said, we will fix it.
Mhm.
So we are going to encourage you, our viewers, to be a part of that community for those who are experiencing difficult times, whether you know the story or not. Just
Mhm.
know that there is indeed a story.
There's a story.
Yes, yes. Any
Yeah.
final words from you all, from the sisterhood?
I like to say just about loss isn't always the loss of a loved one. I think we might have touched on that. It could be a loss of her job as she suffered. And that snowballed from there. It was loss of her home, loss of her lifestyle. Um, it's not always just loss of a loved one. So that's just something to think about also, because you can have grief with that as well.
Yes. I would probably say, take time to listen, take time to give people space, to see what might be going on in their life. Because, I think you mentioned it to Sakia, we never know, but somebody does have a story. They have something going on. And before we start to judge, for us to just be there, to be with them, and to give them their space, give them their time, let them know that they're not alone. And, and you're holding space for them. That's what I would like to see people do in the world.
I like that.
I think just taking care of you, and our character in the story, Straw, she did not take the best care of her.
Oh,
And
that's
so
good.
as we talked about, grief is going to come knocking at everyone's door at some point. And so it behooves us all to take care of us. Start taking care of yourself. Start developing those coping skills, so that when we encounter these things in life, and we will, that we have something in place.
Mhm.
That we don't go to this extent,
Mhm.
where we're just compounding things further. And so, yeah, but take care of you. Take care of you as we all navigate grief, navigate life. We got to take care of us.
Mhm.
Oh, that is so good, Constance. I hope I hope you guys have enjoyed pretty much sitting on the sofa with the sisterhood, because this was just us talking and reflecting upon something we watched that touched us in a different way. And I love the taking care of you. Remind yourself that somebody is either going through a storm, they just got out of a storm, or they're going to be entering one. And it will be us one day. So stop. Recognize what's happening with you. Please don't allow the situations to break you. Figure out how you can build from them. That's our hope and that's our encouragement for you. So I'll end by saying grief is heavy, but
Hope
Prevails.
prevails.
until next time, bye bye, you all.
Bye.
Bye.